What's going on, guys? We've got another podcast today in the Live to Make podcast series that I started a few months ago with my buddy Jamie. Unfortunately, Jamie's not in this particular podcast because he was out of town. So I drove up to LA to go meet up with my buddy Scott Middough, who is an awesome music producer, musician, singer-songwriter. Scott's one of those guys that's just super passionate and driven, and is just really, really good about getting shit done and really being an awesome freelancer and producing music. So I just wanted to chat with him and really just understand what he does for a living and how that sort of impacts his life, impacts people around him, and just sort of like top level creative discussion over like, you know, how he views things. And I think we had a really good time, and you know, we're pretty silly like when we talk together, but you'll see that in the video. But yeah, let me know what you think, and yeah. We are.
How's my sound?
Are you just whispering sweet nothings to the mic right now? I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
I'm okay with it, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, hey, cheers for having me over
Hey,
here. This
cheers.
is an awesome studio you've got here, man.
It's something.
So,
Thank you.
tell me a little bit about this setup. Like, how did you go about setting this room up? Because I don't really know anything about audio and stuff like that. So.
It's really not meant to be this sort of room at all. Like the shape of it just really doesn't allow for anything good sonically.
It's
so-
a box, though. It's a square.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, think of any big studio you've seen a picture of.
Okay.
They're all like really big, long, odd-shaped rooms, right?
Sure.
Because if audio is bouncing perpetually back and forth, like in a small room like this, it just builds up and
So
just...
do you want it to be smooth rather than sharp? Does that have anything to do with it?
Not really. I think
Okay.
the biggest thing with this one is just the length of the room.
Got it.
And I could totally nerd out about like the length of bass frequency waves, but I
So
won't.
what would be your ideal like studio then? Like, I know that this is like a bigger step towards
Like ideal within reason, or ideal like ideal?
Would it be like twice the size of this? Like in a like.
Oh, it'd be
'cause
like
this is a pretty
6
good
times.
space.
I'd want like this whole building. There'd be like Studio A and Studio B and like a
Right.
kitchen and like, you know.
One room is just for recording vocals. One room is just for recording like drum
Totally,
stuff.
totally.
Okay. Nice. So what have you been like kind of using this for lately? I know you do a lot of freelance work right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I
but,
do pretty much everything from here. Yeah, so if I'm doing commercial stuff, it's mostly out of here. I got all sorts of instruments to make myself sound like a bunch of different people.
You've got guitars back there.
got
You've
guitars
got
back here.
keyboards.
Got keyboards over there.
I see another acoustic guitar over there.
Yeah.
What is all this stuff? Is this like soundboard stuff? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like such a noob when it comes to all this, man. Like
No, it's all just
fancy equipment.
either recording things in or pushing things out, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, dude, this is rad.
Thanks. I'm lucky enough to have a girlfriend that wanted to go in on a 2-bedroom place to let me have one of the rooms.
Dude, I feel like that helps a lot, especially just with rent itself. Like, you
Yeah.
can actually spend money on things that matter like this. You're not just throwing all your money away on rent. You know, like you can kind of share the payments, I guess you could say. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, makes sense for now. Until I'm rolling in it.
Until you're rolling in it.
Then I'll get to go to like another
What's-
separate building.
What's cool about this is like this is what's gonna get you to be rolling. Like having your own little like dedicated space where you can create whenever you want, like zone
Yeah.
out from the world and
Yeah.
just get into it.
Yeah, I also think it's good to like work in any sort of setting or in any sort of parameter. Like, and I battle that all the time. Like, I'll be in a writing lull, trying to write the next greatest thing. It's just not happening. And then in my brain, I get this thought like, oh, you know what? I really need this guitar. I really need this thing. Or like, I really need
To
this
get me there.
this new, you know, tablet to draw on or whatever it is. Like, oh, that's going to be the thing that really makes it
elevates
happen
me to
for
the
me.
next
It's
level.
not true at all.
No.
It's not true at all. Like, if you're
what I
making good shit, you're going to make good shit with the tools you have.
For sure. And I
So-
mean, there's going to be times where like you put out stuff and some of it just doesn't hit or it's not as magical as you would had hoped. But by doing that, if you
Right.
just keep putting things out and keep like trying, like chances are one of those things is going to pop off in some form or another, you know, like
Yeah.
when you put music out, like, you know, you put an album out like not too long ago, which is really rad. Like
Right.
a lot of the songs, all the songs are really good, but I feel like different people like different songs, right? So like just by casting a wider net, but still kind of focused on that wide net, like you're gonna get things that work maybe better for other people or for yourself or whatever, you know? So it's like,
Sure.
that's what I found with like your album is like, it's all quality. And then there's like little tidbits of things. I'm like, ooh, I really like this part though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that's cool.
I don't know.
Well, I think because that EP was designed sort of just as a business card anyway.
Right.
I have no desire to be an artist. I'm not trying to find my look and my sound and put out albums and go on tours. I'm just trying to write good music and hopefully other people will perform them. But
So like when you say like calling, it's almost like this is showing that I can do this. Like I put together this thing.
Yeah.
I took the time to do it. I made it look awesome, sound awesome. I kind of like orchestrated this thing on my own with some help of some other people, I'm sure.
Sure.
But like,
Yeah.
it was your initiative. You did it just for fun in a way, as like a passion project.
yeah, and I think a lot of people that are established in the industry need to see that you can do things on your own.
Yeah.
Like, that's the biggest thing I hear from publishers and labels and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, cool. Show me what you can do. Like they're not there to give you handouts.
Exactly.
It's not like the 60s where you see a guy on the corner and some A&R guy's like, I'm going to make you big, kid, because you're talented.
Doesn't
Like,
work
that
that
doesn't
way
exist.
anymore.
You need to have a social following. You need to have a look. You need to have a brand. You need to have your shit together. And then someone goes, okay, let's kickstart you even further.
And people want to know how you spend your time. So like, it's obvious to anybody that listens to that EP that you took a lot of time out of your busy schedule to do this. It's something that like it meant something to you, and like you can hear it in the music. And I know I'm like raving about it, but it's really awesome. Anybody that's listening should definitely check it out. Where can Spotify?
Yeah.
It's Scott Middough
Yeah.
Intent on Spotify.
Yeah.
We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah.
But you can hear like the fact that like you were super passionate about it. You're like singing from the heart, you know. Some of those songs like they kind of like pull at your heartstrings like when I was listening to them, you know what I mean? So it's like
Yeah, that's what it was. It was like the passion project. A lot of them were songs that I had like tinkered with for years.
right.
You know.
So you finally
The song about the breakup that like it was
Yeah.
years ago that you don't even think about anymore, but because they never really found their home, it's like, okay, well,
I think a lot of people like that song probably. I know
Which
that's
one's-
my favorite
which one's
song.
that?
Shoot, what is it called? It's the breakup song.
Are you thinking of Goodbye?
Goodbye.
Yeah.
That has like the right sound for me. I love that
It's
song.
a folk song. That's
Yeah.
basically, if you break it down, that's what it is.
Yeah, so and that's kind of like what I was talking about before. Is like that's like my favorite song, and like I like all the songs, but like you know you
Sure.
gravitate towards certain sounds or whatever.
Yeah.
But I guess like back to what I was saying is like the fact that you did that, people can now see like, all right, this guy's legit. Like he spends his time doing this. Like he's a maker, a producer, like somebody that's creative. Like and you're able to hone in all those things and make something concrete out of it. You know.
Sure.
And a lot of people have, like struggle doing that. You know, like I know I struggle doing it sometimes. Like I have so many ideas, and I'm sure you can relate to this. You have so many ideas, and you're like, all right, what am I actually gonna like do with all this stuff? I have to package it up and do something that's, you know, it makes sense. There's like some
Sure.
structure around it so that I can get it
Yeah.
out. You know,
Yeah.
and that's
It's
tough sometimes.
It's also like a little credibility. If I'm living in Los Angeles and I hit someone up to do a co-writing session that's doing way better than I am,
Right.
they're gonna look up my name and go, okay, well, what has this guy done? Is he any good? This or that. They can't go off an email.
Sure.
I can't email someone and be like, hey, we should work together. I have like a lot of good songs in the works.
Yeah.
Like I swear they're good.
Yeah.
No one's gonna work with that guy.
It's true. It's like
You gotta
give
you
me
gotta
something.
put something in. Yeah, it's like going to a job interview without like if you're a designer.
You have to have a portfolio.
Yeah, you're not gonna get a job without a portfolio.
A lot of people don't know, but I didn't graduate art school. Like I dropped out of art school because I got a job full time when I was at art school. And I'm like, you know what? Like,
Right.
and I'm not saying people should drop out of school or anything, but for me, like my path was like
Drop out of school. No, I'm just kidding.
drop. Yeah. My path was more so like I'm just gonna build my portfolio while I'm in school, and then like I put that up like right away.
Yeah.
And because I was able to show my work, it wasn't that great at the time, but like it got my foot in the door at a creative agency. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so like there's young designers out there that haven't put their portfolio together, and there's no consistency. It's not like cohesive, and I think that's the biggest struggle with like a lot of young creatives in general. Like not even design, but like
Right.
getting your stuff like professional, like kind of packaged up in a presentable format that.
Sure.
So like, you know, if we've never met, like you said, like you can just play your album, or I can show you my portfolio. Like there's a real connection that can happen that way that can sprout into a professional relationship. You know.
Yeah.
So.
Can I flip the lens? Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Are we allowed to do that?
You can do whatever you want, Scott.
Because I went to like a regular 4-year university, but studied music.
Mm-hmm.
But you went to like a specific art school,
Yeah.
which I've always kind of found awesome. I'm surprised it's not more of a thing. I feel like the education system for creative people
It's better.
yeah.
It's just really expensive.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, I like it. I always go down this rabbit hole with people, and it always comes back to like some people are ready to pick what they want to do, and dive right in. Like, give me my focus. I know what I want to do. And some people are going to school to figure it out.
Sure.
And that's okay. But I feel like it should be more accessible. It should be more popular and okay to be like, hey, I want to do this thing. Get me in a program that's going to be doing this thing every day. Like, I want to work.
Like special, like you want to specialize in something that you're really good at, and you want to be the best at that.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Art Institute is where I went, and I love school. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. Like, and what's cool about that is, like, it's so specific, like you're saying, that like everybody there is like also creative. Like, everybody's there to be more in tune with like their passions, and like they're trying to, like, maybe like you like lettering and like graphic design and like logos and branding, like you kind of have these different like interests. Well, you can take a class specifically on like branding, you can take a class specifically on like still life drawing. Like, you can really see what those, it's kind of like a Hogwarts in a way, like here's how we're gonna do like botany, and like here's the the wand class where we like master our like Wingardium Leviosa. Okay, sorry guys, a little Harry Potter talk, but seriously, like that's kind of what art school is. Like, you go in and you like figure out what your strengths are and like what are those areas about yourself that you really want to focus on. And you're right, there should be more schools like that for other topics and other I guess like types of industries.
Well, I feel like we got to this point because we're talking about having a portfolio of work that you can present as you start like moving forward in your career. And I feel like kids get to the end of college, say 4 or 5 year university, and at the very end you do like a capstone project and whatever it is. At the very end you start having to take internships.
Right.
At the very end you find a focus. And maybe
like,
it took people that much time, and that's the progress. But at that point, then they graduate, they have a ton of debt.
Yeah.
And they're going, why can't I get this job?
Yeah.
Because you're not actually good at what you're doing yet.
It's like,
you have the theory, like someone's taught you this is what you need to do, but you have to do it. You have to fail. You have to try.
You got to jump out of the nest and just, you're going to fall a few times, and you learn from those falls, and like, it's almost like, I think actually, so Will Smith started a YouTube channel, which is really awesome.
Okay.
He said something about, and he's been doing like a lot of motivational kind of like little snippets on his channel, which is rad because like he's an awesome dude. But he says like fail often, fail early, or something like that. Like, I forget the actual quote, but it's true. Like, if you can fail early, get it out of the way, learn from it, boom. Like, and not like big failures where like you're hurting people or you're hurting yourself. More like, okay, I made the dumb decision here. Like, I probably could have gone about it this way instead. If you can do those things quickly and kind of like get through them, then like, all right, like I've already been here. I know how to handle this situation better. You know what I mean?
I also think that's a fine line.
Sure.
I think a lot of people hear that advice. They're like, okay, I'm selling all my stuff and I'm going on the road and I'm doing this, and it's just
drastic.
like, okay, that's just unreasonable. I think what you have to do, and I'm no expert by any means, is to have a little bit of risk.
Sure. Without
just dropping everything off the ledge.
Yeah, you got to be smart about it. Like, you have to be mindful. You have to be self-aware. You need to know, like, and when I say like failures, it's like, I starting the YouTube channel, never done that before.
Sure.
Didn't really know how I was going to do it. I'm sure there's better ways I could have optimized like how I filmed the videos and how I like made my thumbnails and all that stuff. But it's like, just the act of doing it made it like so that I could learn from something. I have some sort of substance to like look at and be like, all right, cool. Like, now we can move forward here. But like, packing up your things and moving somewhere and like, not like looking at your obligations and your finances and things like that, that's irresponsible, right?
Sure.
So the idea of this podcast is like, so this is the second one I've done.
Okay.
I want to go to different
How are we doing so far?
I don't know. We'll have to, the people that are watching are going to have to let us, they're not watching right now, obviously this isn't live, but
right.
I don't know. People could be like, this is stupid, I'm turning it off immediately.
Well, because like, I feel like we haven't really had a theme. So unless we're charismatic enough that people just want to listen,
true,
we're kind of just shooting the shit.
I mean, the theme has been around like creating things, I think, and like making stuff. So like, there's definitely a theme in that regard. Like, so I titled this kind of like, it's sort of vague, like live to make, but I feel like that's sort of like a mantra in a way for me. It's like, that's kind of like how I live my life, is like, I always want to make things.
Sure.
Because I feel like that's sort of how I'm programmed.
Right.
Like as a kid, I would just draw like cartoons all the time. Like in my classes, I would just like doodle on like the margins of my test papers and stuff. Sure. And I wouldn't really pay attention. I wasn't like a failed student or anything. Like I got like B's and like A minuses and stuff. But like when it came to like subjects that I wasn't interested in, like math,
right.
I would just doodle, and like I would get in trouble by the teachers all the time, So I think the theme of like making things is kind of what, and like other creators that are passionate about what they do, because like that's something that I admire about you is you're always fucking constantly grinding. Like you're always doing something. Like I'll be like, hey Scott, you want to hang out for this? Like you'd be like, oh, I actually got this project I got to finish up, or I got to, and I respect that a lot. I think it's really noble, and those are the types of people that I think are important to surround yourself with. Like people that are actually grinding, hustling, like doing things that like are gonna better their career, better themselves, better other people. Like the stuff that you do that has like repercussions, but like good repercussions. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like people get to hear your music, people get to see the videos that you edit. Like
Sure.
you do a lot of cool shit, and like I think that's why I wanted to talk to you, is because like I'm interested, I'm intrigued. You know, I always want to see what Scotty's up to. You know what I mean?
Well, I've been lucky enough to make a living doing creative things, and also like pursuing another career on the side.
Sure, your side hustle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is cool, but both are creative. You know, it's not like, oh, I'm trying to be a successful pop songwriter while I'm working in insurance.
Or
I was lucky enough to come up, you know, in advertising, doing video production and editing and stuff.
But is it luck, or is it because you positioned your life that way? Like you worked for it?
Oh, I think it's a huge combo of both.
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's nice.
I'd probably say it's like 90% your work ethic and like you doing shit and saying no and like having self-awareness and being like, hey, like I can't go out tonight because I have this thing I got to do the next day, or I got to do this thing tonight. Like, and then yeah, like if you do enough, if you make enough of those good decisions, then maybe that's where the luck comes in. Like luck is sprinkled on top. I don't know. I'm just kind of spitballing.
Well, yeah,
like,
no. Well, like if you want to go back, how I got into video production was I worked at my university in like the department that did all the tech for the arts program.
Yeah.
So I would like do the live sound for the shows and do the lights and do the thing. And then the guys that ran that were like, hey, do you want to learn some camera stuff? And then you can rent cameras and kind of tech the classes. And I was just kind of absorbing anything I could.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah, teach me that. Yep, teach me that.
Yeah.
Yep, teach me that. With no real end goal in sight.
Yeah.
Just absorbing everything I could. And then I ended up doing an album with an old friend who then went on to do video stuff too.
Right.
He's like, hey, are you doing video stuff now?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, I need somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, I'm still figuring it out, but like, sure, I can come and help. And then
so it's almost like you already had just like this like inherent ability to want to just learn a lot. Like, and that's not because like you had a goal in mind. It's because that's just what you wanted to do.
Yeah.
Because like you're passionate about like creating and like, you know, learning new tools and new skill sets. So that was already like a thing that was in you. And then the luck part was like, because you did that, the person that you were involved with at the time that you were hanging out with and like whatever, later down the line, it turned into something. And that's happened a lot in my life where having good relationships with people, like getting your work done on time, like just being a good communicator, like just being an overall good person pans out in the long run, I feel like, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I also think there's a hidden skill in just making whatever you're doing look like you want to be there and you want to be doing it.
Right.
Like
don't half-ass it.
Yeah, and I know it's cliche to be like, oh, you're waiting tables and you could have been really good to the guy you were serving and he ended up being an executive for this or blah, blah. But that's totally the case. Like no one, you're not going to network with anybody if it looks like you don't want to be doing what you're doing.
I just think that some people are maybe a little lost and they have to figure out like how to get into their groove.
Sure.
And not everybody, it's not easy for everybody has different chapters of their lives where they're figuring that out or that's why I started the YouTube channel. It's like I want people that are like trying to get into design or like they want to. I want them to know like these are ways that I went about doing things and solving problems that I think could work for you.
Sure.
Maybe there's a better way, maybe there's not. But I feel like it'd be silly if I didn't help somehow or share some of that knowledge.
Well, I don't know if I'm in any sort of position to be doling out advice, but
it's not even
if
advice.
You want to dig into it, let's do it.
Okay. For somebody that is new to like music and songwriting or producing, like what are some things that you would just I guess focus on when you're early in your career? You know, like there's probably people listening that maybe want to explore that and they don't know what's the most important thing you can think of?
Make good shit.
Make good shit.
I mean, really.
There it is. Make good shit, guys.
But like I battle that every day.
Yeah.
I'll sit here and I'll like look up new gear to get and like a new way to do something or like buy a new guitar because that's what's going to inspire me to do the next thing. It's not the case at all.
Yeah.
Shut up. Put your head down. Make good shit.
Yeah.
Like, yes, you're going to have to network.
You're going to make bad shit at first.
Totally.
Yeah.
I still do. I'm not convinced I'm
Dude,
not making bad shit all the time.
I
But
make bad shit a lot.
right.
Yeah.
No, but I think that like you can't lose sight of that.
Right.
Because I think we're constantly inundated with like celebrities and successful people just spewing out like, look at my lifestyle, my this, and it's an attitude. It's like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
but be good at what you do.
Be good at what you do by doing more of it and getting feedback
Yeah.
from people that have done it better.
Yeah.
You know, and like being open minded, like not holding on to your thing like it's just this little like fragile, like you have to open up to people.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to take
That's
criticism.
huge. That's
you know?
huge, especially in music.
Yeah.
That's
Dude,
like
music is a crazy industry.
because for a lot of people, it's such a personal craft.
Yeah.
And if that's like your hobby and your release, yeah, take 10 years to write the song.
Sure.
Go for it. Like if that's healing you, awesome.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you're trying to make a career of it, you got to be cranking stuff out and you have to let stuff go. You have to let people in to make it better.
Yeah.
You have to shut people out to like make it your own thing.
Right.
And
It's a constant
you
evolution of
can't,
things.
you can't be like so married to something.
Yeah. I mean, you can marry a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd like to.
Yeah. Hey.
She probably won't even watch this.
Hey, maybe she should.
Now she's going to have to.
Yeah. Hey, there's a little Easter egg in there for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so we got a little groundwork coffee here? Is that what we're drinking?
We are drinking that.
Groundwork, I've been to one of those in like Venice Beach, or maybe Santa Monica.
I'm sure there's one out there. There's one in Hollywood. They sell that one at Whole Foods.
This one is a Bitch's Brew.
Yeah. I will tell you this. The one thing about living with your partner, and for me it's the first time, you have to compromise on coffee.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Well,
Like,
do you guys have different like taste
We have
profiles?
totally different coffee
Interesting.
tastes. So now we've kind of found a middle ground that we both accept.
So
which
you've
is
got a
sort
little
of,
dark roast here. That's not a middle ground, is it?
Oh yeah.
So what is she like?
I like strong, like bitter pour over
Yeah.
type coffee, and she likes strong, rich, like dark chocolatey kind of coffee.
Interesting.
So we have to find some sort of middle ground.
Something with like a little caramel or
Yeah.
like a little bit of even like nut flavor,
Maybe.
perhaps.
Maybe.
It's always interesting to see all the different pour. Like we're getting really hipster and nerdy
Sorry.
right now, but
no,
like
I'm just laughing at myself for laughing. The user nut profile.
it's a bit nutty. This actually is really good. What are we drinking here? So it's a smoky and creamy blend with notes of dark chocolate and caramel. Ooh, maybe that's why I said caramel, because I thought.
So when I
tasted-
say compromise, she definitely won this battle.
well, Emily, good choice, because this is
No,
really
it is good. It is
Yeah.
good. I didn't realize how it's like the perfect example for. It's like a perfect metaphor.
When you
for
start a
living with
relationship,
somebody.
you have to compromise things. You have to find like that middle ground of
Right.
okay, this is what you like, this is what I like. They're in the same
Right.
atmosphere, but we got to like fine tune this so that it
Right.
works out in both for both
You're
of
also
us.
trying to save money. You know, we could
Yeah.
have 2 different coffee machines with 2 different beans in it,
Yeah,
and do that.
but you guys are a unit.
Yeah,
I don't know why I went like that. That was like a scissor.
is that what it is? A unit? Is this a unit now?
Do you ever feel like sometimes when you're just talking and like, your hands are just doing things that you're like, just stop, like you're not helping me right now. Sometimes your hands can be like, you know, like Obama goes like this, or
Right.
like you can,
Sure.
you know, you can do whatever you want, but
Yeah.
sometimes your hands just do like really silly things. You're like, I
My-
wish I didn't do that with
No,
my
my
hands.
mouth does that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
I'll just say things, and like as I'm saying it, my brain is just like, "Why are you saying this right
Like,
now?"
why did you just say that thing, Scott?
Yeah.
Go back to bed. Start again tomorrow.
Right. Give up now. Go back. No, but I think whenever that happens to me, I just own it. It's
You-
like
yeah, yeah.
it's like when you fart, and everyone knows you farted.
You gotta laugh at
You're
yourself.
only gonna make it worse by being like, "Who farted?"
You just gotta laugh at
You'll be
yourself.
like, "My bad, I farted."
Speaking of farts, okay.
Do we want to go down this tangent?
Well,
How long is this thing? Do
this
we
is-
want to go
this
down
is-
a fart tangent?
No, this is similar. It's in the same neighborhood as a fart. Okay, here's my question, because
Okay.
I'm actually really interested in this.
Okay.
When you poo, what app do you go to first?
Instagram.
Instagram.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I think I go to Instagram. I go to Instagram and Twitter first.
Yeah.
They're kind of like they're either or.
I'm hitting one of those phases where I'm really over it.
Over apps.
Being
while
on
you're pooping? Instagram. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, it's great for networking. I've met people on there to work with and collaborate with. You know, you see things that inspire you, but I feel like everyone is just so gung-ho about trying to pump out as much content as possible.
Right.
There's like nothing genuine anymore. And I'd get so angry because I'm not like angry in the moment because I'm doing it. I'm scrolling,
Yeah.
like, thinking I'm getting value out of it. And then at the end, I sat there wasted 10 minutes.
Like I could have recorded a song right
And
now.
gone like, I didn't get anything out of that.
No.
I'm not getting anything from it. I'm not giving anything to it. It's just like a habit that I'm doing it.
I think something that because I've noticed that too. There's definitely days where I'm like, why am I scrolling so much on this app?
Mm-hmm.
I've started to just follow, and I did it a lot with Twitter because I'd started a Twitter account, which I'm not really like. This is a new thing for me,
I've never
Twitter.
even been on Twitter.
So I've been following people in like the design industry and the creative industry and like tech stuff, like things that I actually really want value from. I'm only following those things.
Right.
And I'm trying to do the same thing with like Instagram, where like I'm following people that inspire me, that are like positive.
But
and,
doesn't
like,
it then just feel like you're scrolling through advertising?
No, not when you're following people that like are creating things that are like, you know, like if I'm following like you, like a musician or somebody that's a woodworker or somebody that has a cool coffee brand that they're stuff that is like I don't know, like a little bit more authentic and genuine. And like definitely I'm sure I'm still following people that I need to like unfollow, I guess, but like I don't look at it as like, oh, this is a good person or a bad person. It's more so like, does this bring me value?
Sure.
And is it something that after I see it, does it make me feel good or does it make me feel like eerie and like, ugh, like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like trying to prevent those moments where you're like, I just wasted time.
But does it ever feel, maybe this is just like the cynic inside of me, it always feels like someone's hubbing their own thing. Or like, even if it's a company, it's like, here's the 6 best things to do when you wake up or whatever it is, and then you click on it expecting to get something out of it, and then you just see right through them just trying to get you to click on their other shit.
I think there's just going to be, in the landscape of everything, like there's going to be those.
Totally.
And you just got to be like, cool.
That's
like
fine.
that's how you're doing it? Cool. I'd maybe do it a different way.
Well, you got to tell me who to follow, because I need like
who to follow?
I need like a refresh of
what kind of like
good,
what kind of people? Like what are you interested in? Like design? Like I know a lot of like really good designers. You know, okay.
What?
You know who you would actually like is Pablo Stanley. He's a really good designer, like logo designer.
Right.
He does like sketch tutorials on YouTube.
Yeah.
But he's like got like a whole like musical side too. Like I saw one of his videos where like in between his like transitions, he would like play like on a keyboard like boop, 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 and it was a nice little like break from like him talking all.
That's cool.
Like, so I was like, okay, this guy definitely has like a music background for sure.
Right.
'Cause he's got all these cool like vintage like keyboard things or whatever.
Yeah.
So Pablo Stanley would be a good one to follow.
Okay. Right.
And like a lot of these people, like they're pretty in tune with like their passions and like they create good stuff all the time.
Sure.
You know? And so it's kind of like this community that I found like in the design world at least, where it's like everybody encourages each other, like you bring each other up, and it's like you learn from each other, like different perspectives. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So
that's cool. Well, I like that because I feel like the design industry is way more inclusive and friendly.
Right.
And it's also not full of vanity. It's like you're sharing content of stuff you've made.
Yeah.
Not like of yourself.
Sure. And I mean, a lot of people could probably think that there's big like egos involved, and like because you're creating something, it's like, please love my art. You know what I mean? Everybody wants the thing that they make to be like loved. But I think if you go about it with an approach of like, hey, it could always be better. Like, what do you guys think? You open up to the community. Like, this is what I did. This is why I did this. These are my design decisions because of this like rationale. But you know, I'm sure there's ways that I can improve it or like make it better for. I think that's the thing with design, like user-based design, is like you're making it for somebody else. You're not making it for yourself. So it kind of takes you out of that like ego thing. It's like, it's not for you, bro. Like, it's for that person that needs to achieve this goal. So
well, I feel like that's the biggest thing with songwriting, especially not writing for myself as an artist. Like if the goal is to write about or for someone else. I'm writing a story that needs to seem like it's coming from someone else, but also being delivered to a huge mass of people.
Right.
It's like the weirdest fine line of how do I make something specific and heartfelt that also connects to ideally millions of people, right?
So let's talk about you writing a song. Like,
okay.
How do you like tell me your process? Because I don't really know your process when it comes to like how you even go about that. You know.
Sure. I mean, like specifically. Like sitting
down,
down,
whatever you want to talk about when it comes to like songwriting, like
everybody
has different processes, right?
Yeah, I feel like the biggest process differentiator is like writing lyrics and having a story first, or like making music and having a melody and stuff.
Right.
So usually people are like one or the other. I'm totally music first.
Music first.
I'll have like a whole song structured out chord progression. I've like sung gibberish in my head, or even recorded gibberish, and then I like screw myself and have to go back and try and write lyrics.
Makes
fitting
sense of
like
the
little
gibberish.
puzzle pieces into the, yeah, totally, like, oh, it has to be an I syllable here.
So you have like little nuggets of things that you've kind of put together, and then like,
Yeah,
do you record them like on your phone first, like when you're thinking
all
of
the
these things?
times.
Okay,
Yeah.
just like the voice app on your phone or
Oh
something.
yeah. Yeah.
And then so you'll come home, play those.
Sometimes.
That's cool. That's cool.
Sometimes, yeah. I do it a lot when I'm driving.
Okay.
I'll do like a lot of like weird little beatboxing things and singing ideas, and
Yeah.
then like the next day when I'm driving again, I'll be playing them all back. I'm like, oh, is that cool? Is that that's not cool?
And doing it in
Is
the
that
car is
cool?
actually good because like when you're in traffic, you can actually be productive in
Oh
traffic.
yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's productive, but
It is productive
doing
because you're
it.
doing research. Like, remember what we said about fail? Like, maybe some of the stuff that
Right.
comes out of your mouth like sucks.
Yeah.
But like 9 times out of 10, it might suck. But that one out of
yeah,
however many recordings is gonna pan out for something else. You know.
that's true. That's true. Yeah. I
I'm
mean,
gonna-
there's hundreds of voice notes on my phone. They've never found a home, but
Can we hear one right now?
no, God no.
Let's hear one.
No.
Come on, we gotta hear one.
I like today the most recent one.
Let's hear something.
It's either like me singing and playing, or it's literally like beatboxing an idea, like trying
I gotta
to get
hear
a thing.
it. I gotta hear it. People want to hear it.
I don't know anything, if anything's good on here.
This is like
It's all so bad.
a real like glimpse under the hood of like Scotty Midough's like
Yeah, it's like a
creative
really
process.
ugly hood.
Hey, you know what?
Hold on. I don't even know what this is.
Dude, that's sweet.
So this is, no, like, this is walking my dog.
That's
It doesn't
awesome.
even, but it's just like, so I'll come back and be like, okay, what tempo is that?
It almost
Okay,
sounds like it's
kinda that beat.
underwater. Like
Yeah.
the way that you're like suppressing like the
Yeah.
like the
It's not
pops.
meant to sound good. I think it's meant, like, something was stuck in my brain.
Sure.
I put it out very poorly, and I come back and sit here and like, just like, okay, what was I trying to get across in
Right.
that?
You lay down the first layer and then you can come back to it and like, okay, I like this part of it. I can use this. So for design for me, I kind of do a somewhat similar thing.
Yeah.
If I see something I like on the street, like a cool like signage thing or like some typography, I'll just take a picture of it. And then like I'll just have all these pictures on my phone of like things that inspire me from the real world, not just
Yeah.
like I'm on like a feed all day.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm using the real world as a feed, you know?
Totally.
And I'll be like, okay, cool. Like I like the way that A looks. Like I wonder if
Yeah.
I could recreate that in my own way, you know?
My camera roll is full of screenshot Spotify songs,
Yeah.
like things I'd never heard. Like, that's cool. I'm not gonna copy it, but like
You're going to
the
reference
vibe
it.
that gave me, I really like. I want to try and do
Yeah.
something in that sort of area.
I think that's what's cool about just being a creator and like being in a place where like you interact with so many people is that like especially in LA it's really dense for a lot of creative people. You're able to you know, take little things from everybody and like come up with your own version of it and like put your own spin on it and like
Yeah.
because you have your own like ideas and your own like experiences that are gonna like have it that are unique to you, so
Yeah.
nobody can take that from you.
Well, everything's kind of regurgitated, right?
Sure, but the your life is not like anybody else's life. Like
Sure.
you're unique, so
Sure.
no matter what you create, it's never going to be what I create. You know what I mean? So that's what makes it kind of fun and unique, I think, and interesting.
Yeah. But that's also why I like collaborating a lot.
right, because you get those two different perspectives or three different perspectives.
All the songs
however
I'm
many.
doing now are probably like 75% done with other people collaborating.
That's sweet.
It's cool though, because everyone has their strengths. Everyone has different ideas of things. You're getting like instant feedback on
Yeah.
something, and it kind of teaches you to have no shame.
Yeah,
Like, oh, I had this idea, and someone like, not gonna happen. I'm like, all right, cool. Like, next
Right.
idea.
right.
Like, that was hard to overcome at first.
Yeah,
You could be playing something or working on something for weeks. Like, I think this is really good. And then you sit down and do it for somebody else, and they're like,
not feeling
not
it, bro.
really a thing.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to go, all right.
and
not
it's
a thing.
almost like the way that you talk. Like, it's like constructive criticism. It's like, okay,
I just did the hand thing
I
you were
really
talking
like-
about. Is this how you play piano?
yeah.
apparently?
See, you turn into a little T-Rex,
What
little
is
baby.
this?
It's like a little T-Rex, little baby arms.
The
for
little toy
T-Rex.
piano.
Yeah,
Okay.
it looks more like a T-Rex.
Sorry, what were you saying?
Um,
Make good shit.
make good shit.
Number one.
That should just be the new.
I feel so-
That should be the name of the podcast.
I know.
Make good shit.
I feel so funny doling out advice. I feel like I'm totally not qualified, but
How old are you?
I would provide 27.
Yeah,
It's not an age thing.
If you're over 25.
Are you kidding me? There's like 19-year-old musicians. I'm like, please teach me.
Yeah, but how long you been doing music? Been involved in music?
Since I was like 9.
There you go. I feel like you're more or less like you've been doing it since you were 9, so you have a track record of doing things,
Sure.
failing at things, getting better. Like,
Sure.
you're not like we're not saying like you have to be like a Mozart to give advice. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
you're doing stuff all the time, and I think that a lot of people would like to hear from somebody like you.
Yeah.
Because I do. I like to hear about your ventures all the time. You know?
I wouldn't be too picky about the kind of work you're doing or the kind of projects you're doing, especially if you're starting out. Because one, you don't know what opportunity that could bring. You know, you could be collaborating with someone. It seems like a total shit idea. Yeah. And if you show up just like, I want to be here, I'm going to do the thing. And you're like, they're not going to ask you back for when they may have a cool thing to do.
Right.
So like, go, show up, give it your best.
So like when you're young, it's just like take any opportunity you can. If it's, you know, within reason.
Within reason. Yeah. But like, don't think you're the next greatest thing and you're going to wait for the perfect opportunity to come along.
That's naive.
To then act and take it. Because that won't happen.
Sure.
Maybe 1 in a million times that'll happen.
What's something like early in your career that you felt like opened up your help open up your career even more, like pave like a path for you, like a project that you took on? Like, is there something you can think of at the top of your head that like really like kind of projected you?
I mean, not a specific project, but I was lucky enough to sort of pivot what I was doing for work into working on music.
Yeah.
So I was with an agency who we worked at together.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And
Magnetic Creative.
Yeah.
Shout out. Awesome
to
agency.
That team. No, so I was doing, and I still am doing work for them.
Yeah.
And I'm editing a lot of content and going through things, and we're like just doling out money for music. And at the same time, there's clients that are kind of not wanting stock music anymore. They want something custom. They want, so I kind of positioned it to them like, why don't I make the music? If it's something I'm capable of executing, why don't I do that?
Yeah.
And that's what kind of
geared
me towards doing that for video.
It was a decision you made because you knew that you were good at doing this. And you're like, well, I can bring you value this way. And if it works out for you guys, that it works.
And I think it's really good practice for me too.
Yeah. So you're getting better at your craft while you're getting paid.
Yeah, totally. That's like the lucky part. Like, there's people that can make there's people that can make just as good of music as I do.
I don't know.
That aren't getting paid to, write for commercials. But also there's a pride thing there too. I know guys that want to be writing and pitching pop music that won't do commercial music.
Really?
It's like, nah, too cool for that.
I will say, like, when you watch a video or a film from like a brand that is not a stock song, like there's definitely like a different feeling. Like, you feel like more like there's a more emotion involved. You can see like, oh, this is an authentic piece of art that this brand put together and paid them, like they spent the right money to do it. Like they hired the best people. Like, you could tell like the message is getting across in a certain way. Like, you have that kind of like, ooh, like when you see a good commercial that isn't like selling. It's more like they're sharing a story to you, and like you're part of that story and you can resonate with it.
Yeah.
And like for you, like you have that sweet track behind it, and like it really pulls everything together.
Well, also think about brands that are now cranking out content like daily.
Yeah.
That all has to be consistent to some extent.
Sure.
Right? If you have like a color scheme for your brand, you're going to use that throughout all the imagery that you put out, right?
If you have like earth tones and then you just put hot pink in there one day.
Right. So if you're putting out content every day, you can either use the same song or like from the same band, but that'll run out and get old really quick.
Yeah.
Because there's only so much of it. Or you're doing something different in stock music like every single day, which just feels like totally disjointed.
Right.
It's like a lot of the stuff I've done is like for one client or for one brand, but it's like 20 videos.
Different iterations.
Like let's make something that feels similar enough.
So it's like a soundtrack to the brand.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, similar enough, but not like exact.
That could be like your headline on your website. Like, I can make a soundtrack for your brand.
I don't think there's anyone, I shouldn't say anyone, but there's not a lot of people doing that.
Yeah.
Right? It's either like a $30 cheesy kind of stock song, or you're like buying it from an indie band who's just trying to make a living, so they're going to charge for it. But there's no one really doing like a sort of consistent custom type stock music thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, because
I mean, you've got like places like Music Bed, but that's a little different because it's already made and you can license it.
Right.
But what you're saying is like custom stuff for projects. So it's almost like a creative agency that focuses mostly like on video and film, and like we make that song for you. You know.
Right.
So
so that exists.
Yeah.
But it's usually one-off things.
Right.
Like there's music houses that an agency will go to and be like, hey, we're doing this Doritos Super Bowl commercial. Here's this much money to do just the soundtrack for that. And those guys are unreal. They're awesome at what they do. But it's not feasible financially to ask those guys to do like a 10 video web series thing.
Right. Right.
So it's like finding that middle ground of like good quality music that you can just
That has
spread
legs.
out over a huge brand.
So you could map that out for a client and be like, this is the journey that we're going to go through together on this project. Like, you're going to get like an evolution. Like the theme is going to be consistent in the sound, in the audio experience. But
Because you do it with everything else.
Yeah.
In advertising, right?
Yeah.
Everything else that you're putting out as a brand has a look, has a style, it has
It's
a
almost
vibe.
like all the senses need to be incorporated. Like
Right,
the
but
sound, the look, the feel.
But how many projects have you worked on the music at the end is like an afterthought? It's like, oh yeah, we got to put music to this thing.
And you're like, God, that
And
would
then
have been
it
so
feels-
much cooler
it
if you
feels
just.
it feels disjointed. Like
Yeah.
I've heard of film composers writing pieces ahead of time for directors.
Yeah.
So the director can play it on set. So
Interesting.
they're like capturing the scene based on the vibe of the music.
Yeah.
Like that's so cool.
I mean, I've seen movies where like, did you see The Arrival?
Yeah.
The soundtrack to that movie was so good.
Yeah.
I watched this like behind the scenes.
Watch it
where
without it, and you'll be like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah, it relies on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But seeing how they made that, they even show like the storyboards of like how they like kind of did everything before. Like I like
Yeah.
seeing like a movie like broken apart and dissected like that, because it's like oh, everything is like really thought through. Like that's how you make these things.
Yeah.
It's not like they're just shooting from the hip all the time. Like there's things that you plan out, you craft this thing, you work with so many other people. It's giant. It's a big collaboration.
Yeah.
So we see all those credits. That's just a giant collaboration
Huge.
with lots of money behind it, right?
Tons.
And I think when you see movies like The Arrival or even like that new Annihilation movie, I liked it a lot.
I see that.
There's a lot of cool things that like it just works because all the right players are in place, I guess, to
Yeah.
make that happen.
I'm trying to think of what advice someone would have given me like 5 or 10 years ago.
Okay, so give yourself advice when you were younger. Ooh, Scotty from here to Scotty from the past.
Little Scott.
Little Scotty.
I don't know. Like the first thing that comes to mind is like do more,
Do more.
but also I value my free time.
Right.
There's some people that can function just like working. That's their craft all the time. I'm not that.
You gotta unplug.
I would be miserable if I like didn't have a balance.
But I think what's cool about this is like we're just having a fun conversation because we're friends.
Sure.
And we can also be creating at the same time.
Right.
Like I don't really consider this creating. It's just like a flow. Like I feel like this is laid back. This is a fun, casual conversation. We would have done it anyways.
True.
You know what I mean? So it's like
True.
this is a way for me to balance still making things, but still like having like a leisurely experience.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you said make cool shit,
Yeah.
do more.
Yeah. Make
Okay.
good shit. Do more. No, I don't. What would I tell myself? I don't know. I'm a big anti-regret person.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
I wouldn't tell myself do something different because I like where I'm at.
Everything you did.
I like
shaped
where
who you
I am
are
now. Yeah.
So you don't want to mess with that because it was a good recipe.
Yeah, but then that sounds like I did great. No, I really didn't.
No, you are doing great, man. Like I look up to you in a lot of ways, and I think that's something that's
That's nice of you.
No, for
You're
real.
like setting yourself
I'm
up
not
for
just like-
failure, but
no, for reals, man. Like I talk highly about you to a lot of people because I respect you. I respect the work that you do.
Likewise.
Working with you at MAG was awesome, dude. Like that was some of the most fun I've ever had.
Yeah.
Like working at that agency, a lot of great people that work there. Like
Yeah.
it was like a family. It was like an extended family going to this agency and like
Yeah.
getting to work on cool projects. Like I met you at a photo shoot for the very first time.
Yeah.
I was driving Scotty in a van with like some other like models and stuff for like a photo shoot for like was it Life Proof or was it somebody else?
I think it was Fugu.
It's Fugu. So it was a Bluetooth speaker brand, and I had never met Scotty before. I guess we're going into the origin story
Let's
now.
go.
I had to drive a van of like models and just some other like cast and crew, and like
Right.
you were there to help out with shooting, right?
Yeah.
So you were in the back of the van. I met you real quick, shook your hand.
No, I don't even know if we did.
Did we not even shake
No,
hands?
because the people I knew on the crew that asked me to come for that weekend had already left ahead of time. So
you were
I
just
was like,
stuck in
I was
the
like, I
van.
could just drive up and meet you, and they're like, no, there's another van from the office going up.
Yeah.
This is my first time ever being at the office or working with anybody there.
You knew nobody.
No,
in the van.
No, not at all. The two people I knew at the time were already up there.
Right.
And then I was just like, hey, I'm supposed to be here. And everyone was like, okay.
And so we drove
we just
up
got
when
in the
there was
van.
a storm happening, I believe. Like we drove up to Big Bear.
Yeah.
and like the roads were icy. I'm driving this like big ass van with like at least 6 to 7 people in the back.
Right.
We're just trying to like not to die, and like you're just cracking jokes in the back. I'm like, who is this
Was
guy?
I?
Yeah, I'm like, who is this guy in the back that is making me laugh and like actually making me do worse as I'm driving? But like, you know, it made it an experience. But I remember being like, who is this? This dude's witty. He's funny. Like, I got to see who this dude is. And then we ended up having beers later that day and like did the photo shoot and stuff. And it was a fun weekend, you know?
Yeah.
And then like you just kind of like hung around Mag for a while and just kept doing more and more work. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is somebody that I'm going to be hanging out with a lot, I think. Because like you're just around and you're like, you're working on cool shit with us, you know?
That's okay. That's a great nugget of advice that I think people don't always handle very well.
What's that?
Like, be around and network, but don't be like buggy and persistent.
Oh yeah.
There's like a super fine line of when it's okay to like call someone you just met and be like, hey, I'd love to work together, something like that. Because a lot of people just right away they're like, hey, we met, we should do this thing, and a lot of people won't say anything for months.
Yeah.
Like, just be. I would
be
like
human.
Yeah, but it's hard for some people.
Sure.
That's not a natural thing.
Sure. I mean, I'm naturally pretty social, and I kind of want to like be around a lot of people. I think sometimes I have to like tame that back a little bit, like be like, okay, dude,
right?
Maybe people don't want to hang out today. You know what I mean? But I hear what you're saying.
Maybe people don't want to talk about work right away.
Sure, you want to have like a connection that's just more natural, not with something loaded behind it that you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah, so a lot of times I'll meet people in the music industry.
Yeah,
and it's not appropriate to be like, hey, nice to meet you. I'm actually a huge fan of your work. I'd love to work together.
Yeah.
That's so inorganic.
It's like you just went to step 5 right away.
Get to know someone. Talk to somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't even make
buy me a coffee.
Maybe you don't even make that connection that day.
Mm-hmm.
But when you get together again, they bring something up. You go, hey, well, on that topic, do this. I feel like that's a good piece of advice that I feel like is looked over a lot.
So how do we summarize that topic? So we have make cool shit, do more.
Appropriate networking.
Yeah. Don't be too pushy at first.
Yeah.
Come in a little like... Don't come at it with an objective per se. Like, you can have an objective in your head of like, okay, maybe that could lead to something.
Yeah.
But that's not your main intent. Your main intent is to just have a good connection with somebody.
Also, listen more than you speak. That's like a life advice.
Are you telling me
too.
I should do that?
No. No, I'm terrible at it.
I think
constantly talking too much about myself, and like
right.
That's why Emily's really good. She's like, let someone else talk.
She's like, Scotty, like,
zip it. Scotty, don't.
Scotty.
Yeah, totally.
No, I think you have a good amount of, like, you're not overly, like, splurging with your, like, words. Like, you're pretty well balanced. And
I make words up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Like what?
No, like, I'll maybe not make them up. I misuse words a lot.
Misuse?
Yeah.
I do that here and there.
Yeah. But if you're, like, confident about it.
Like funner?
No one knows.
This is funner.
Actually,
I don't say that a lot.
I'll just mix words up. I'll be like, oh, so-and-so's like a narcissist. And it really means like sociopath. But
let's end it with a good little like positive note from Scott Middough.
Good positive note.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you have to find balance. So like, a little background on me. Like, I'm trying to strictly write pop music, pitch and land and write pop music.
Okay.
But that's not making a ton of money right now.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not that successful yet in that field. So I find other opportunities. So like step down from that is like, what can I do to make money paying my bills while making music? And that could be doing commercial stuff, custom music for brands or companies or jingles or, like anything. Like, what can I do to use the equipment I have in here to give music to people?
Don't dwell on things you don't have.
Right. And then step down from that. Okay, how am I going to pay my bills if the music stuff isn't busy enough for the month? If you're self-employed, like, I'm the first person to admit I'm not paying all my bills with music every month.
Yeah.
That's the reality of the situation.
Sure.
I'm not going to try and front and say that's what I'm doing. So say I'm having a month that takes me down to tier 3, use another skill you're good at to pay the bills. So a lot of times I'll be doing video editing still if I need to.
Just because
I can afford to still pay for this room and food for the dog and to do the things I want to do.
Keep a roof on your head.
Yeah, and my insurance and stuff, because I have no desire to be the starving artist in a van.
No.
Trying to like find the next thing. So I think the biggest piece of advice I have is to like humble yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
And realize you're not always going to be doing the perfect job you want to be doing and making money at it.
even people that are at the top, that like big directors and big musicians and celebrities, say like whoever, I'm sure there's times when like they have to do things that isn't their like first and foremost like thing that they want to do. Like they have to, you know,
well, it's like you
adapt,
see
you know,
movie celebrities doing like
bad movies,
a CarMax commercial or something. You're like, how'd you get there?
You're like,
how'd you
just wanted some extra.
It had to be good, right? You know, but I don't know. That's the only like I'm not gonna. I wouldn't sit here and give music advice to somebody. I wouldn't, but like advice I can give, I feel like that I'm pretty good at is balancing your time.
Yeah.
Being productive with it, making sure you're always covering the things you need to first, and then build on top of that, right? And don't look down on yourself for that.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Don't feel bad about having to adapt to the situation, and it's not even backtracking. It's more so like, I've done this before. This is a way that I can get around this problem is by doing this thing. You know?
Yeah. Well, and I think a lot of people need instant gratification. So it's like, oh, if I'm not the best hit songwriter, whatever it is, in 5 years, I give up. I'm like, okay, maybe you shouldn't be doing this in the first place.
You're too hard on yourself.
If this is not something that you just want to be doing every day,
you probably shouldn't be doing it.
Don't be doing it, right?
Yeah.
But if it's something, if I was only afforded the luxury of writing music 1 day a week, I would still do it. I would still do whatever I needed to do 6 days a week and just do it on that 1 day.
Sure.
And with that attitude, 1 day is going to turn into 2. 2 will turn into 3. 3 will turn into 4. Then all the days of the week you're doing what you want to be doing.
I think the biggest part of that is like consistency, like just sticking to it and keep moving forward. Like the more that you don't do it, you're not going to develop that habit. So, you know, if you want to be doing music, you got to put the time in. You got to be in the studio, you got to be recording. And some things are going to be gold that come out of that studio, some things are not going to be gold, you know, but like you're never going to get to those things if you don't put time in, you don't put the work in, and you know, build on top of all the things you've done in the past.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for chatting with me, Scott.
Thanks,
this has been really fun.
I hope it was good.
Even if it's not good,
I hope people get
it's kind of like what we're talking about. Like we're just doing it because it's fun.
I hope someone got something out of it. I don't know.
I got something out of it.
Did
for sure.
you?
Yeah. Okay. I got a coffee out of it. I'm kidding, dude. I got way more out of it for sure. Yeah, man. Hopefully, you know, and I want to hear what people think. Like, definitely chime in on the comments and stuff. Like, if there's things.
Can we talk about that really quick?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Sure.
I wish people were more honest.
Okay.
It hurts. It sucks. I wish 10 years ago someone was like, "You're just not that good at making music. Like, just quit now. Find something else you're good at and do it." You know.
Sure, but you're actually good at.
I'm glad.
music.
Oh, thanks. I'm glad no one did, but I wish it was more acceptable to.
It's like your mom telling you did a good job.
To go to your friend and be like, you worked really hard at this. It's awesome. It's not that great. You know, like that's okay. Work on like constructive criticism, like what you're saying. Like comment on how, like if you want people to watch this, right?
Sure.
End goal.
If they want to watch it,
someone to watch it, someone to get something out of it, right?
Right.
You do it because you like it.
Yeah.
But also,
I get joy out of other people getting some sort of value or like interest in it, or like maybe they unlock something for them, you know?
Right. But what you're saying is, it'd be super cool if someone commented like, "Hey, I appreciate you guys sitting down for an hour and talking and shooting the shit and stuff.
Right.
I didn't really get anything out of it. Maybe next time you could like
do this.
Maybe
have more of a structure in your podcast.
Yeah, like ask someone about this. Then you'd be like, oh, cool. I'll try that next time. If it doesn't work, fuck them. But if it does, then you know there's at least one person that's getting a little more value out of something. And
I think that's a really good way, like a good approach about it is like being flexible, like not being closed-minded.
Yeah.
Even with the YouTube channel, it's like I make videos based on what people say. Like there's a few videos I made just in response to some people. They're like, hey, can you make more sketch videos? Hey, can you make more app? You know, so I try to like tailor the content to people that are actually consuming this stuff. It's not like you're just watching a TV and it's a regularly programmed schedule and you don't get a say in what's on. Like this is an actual thing that you can be a part of. So you're a part of this community. You're part of this like creation process. It goes back to collaboration. Like I'd like to collaborate with the people that are commenting on my videos. You know,
right.
So in a way that,
but like, don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole.
You know.
Yeah. There's gonna be assholes. You know. There's gonna be assholes.
Fuck that guy. He talks funny.
Who's gonna be the asshole?
That's silly. But be like, hey, I got no value from this. Yeah. I could have gotten value if you did this. Maybe. Yeah. Thank you. That's great. You know.
Be constructive. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me what I can do better. You know. Anyways,
I'm really good at self-deprecating.
Let's end this thing because I'm starving.
Let's eat something.
You want to eat something?
Yeah.
All right. Cool.
Great.
Later, peeps.